Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope that decline is a choice and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation. Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents. The days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over.
I can safely say tonight, Iowa made this Republican primary a two-person race.
What's going on, everyone? It's Oscar Kinney here today. As you saw, breaking news on Sunday, Ron DeSantis has decided to suspend his campaigns. A lot of people saw signs of this coming. I believe it was around Friday. People are noticing that, he wasn't campaigning as hard. He started pulling events on the I think Saturday, he started pulling out events, like he started canceling events ahead of time. So people are kind of in the, waiting around for DeSantis to announce that he will be suspending his campaign. My thoughts on why he had to suspend his campaign is that he has no path. If you see the polling data for New Hampshire, South Carolina, he finishes third. No, you saw from the intro. That's why Nikki Haley, I guess, she says she can confidently say it's a two-person race. They kind of predicted this as well, that they wanted it to be a two-horse race with Donald Trump and an establishment pick. Seems like that's Nikki Haley, and not just for Republican establishment. It seems like the uniparty establishment pick is Nikki Haley. I have a lot of Democrats supporting Nikki Haley, and this video is going to be like a two-part type of video. I also want to be speaking about the Never Nikki movement, that I don't understand how someone wants to represent a party where the majority of supporters do not want that individual as a candidate. As you saw, I think I made a video. If I can find the clip, I'll probably put it in. If not, I'm just going to continue talking. I remember I found a meme that encapsulates this. Vivek supporters, DeSantis supporters, Trump supporters, Nikki Haley sucks. That's one thing we all can agree on. We may not agree on tactics, strategy, direction, but we all can agree on one thing, that Nikki Haley sucks. So, as you saw from the video, Ron DeSantis decided to end his campaign, and he also endorsed Donald Trump. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced on Sunday that he was suspending his campaign. You guys already saw the whole thing. I think he had a great quote: "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is courage to continue that counts." It's a comedy attributed to Winston Churchill, but as you saw from the community context, it's something else. Now, the race was permanently altered after Trump was indicted by the, Al Bragg. Since then, it's this Daily Wire, so they're gonna have their little thing for DeSantis. People on Twitter reacting. Vince Dow's like, I will reiterate, Nikki Haley would be a worse president than Joe Biden in all the ways that matters, right? And this is some of the reactions, and a lot of things came out with Nikki Haley. Things about her having allegedly an affair, multiple affairs essentially, right? And I don't know if she has addressed this. That's not a good look. A couple days ago, Nikki Haley's claimed that she would leave race out of the issues if she was a Republican nominee. Now she's going on NBC, I believe. Yeah, NBC, talking about how she was a brown girl and how she faced racism in this country. And she's what people accuse Vivek of doing. People want to accuse Vivek of, Vivek flip-flops. He says one thing and then he says another thing. And then Nikki Haley is literally doing the same thing, but none of that criticism is launched at her. And this is one of the problems I have with mainstream media. And this goes for left and right. That essentially, if you're the preferred candidate, right? If you're in the in crowd, like I said, the media would highly hyper exaggerate your positives and minimizes your negatives. If you're if you're in the out group in the media, they exaggerate your negatives and minimizes your positives. And they're doing the same. You see the game. You're seeing the game with Nikki Haley, right? And I'm gonna give, let this clip run through as an example of, she says that, oh, I'm not gonna run on my identity card. If I lose, it's because I wasn't good enough. Now she's here trying to play into the race thing, and you can see that she's trying to court Democrats and left-leaning independents for New Hampshire. I digress. Let's get into the clip and listen in on what she has to say.
We were the only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown. So anyone that wants to question it can go back and look at what I've said on how hard it was to grow up in the deep South as a brown girl. Anybody can look at my record and see when Walter Scott was shot down by a dirty cop, how I made sure that the Walter Scott family didn't suffer because we put the first body camera bill in the country in place. Anybody can look at the fact that when we had 9 amazing souls die in Mother Emanuel Church, I did something that no Republican or Democrat ever wanted to touch, which was call for the Confederate flag to come down because it would take 2/3 of the House and Senate and was an impossible feat. I don't know what you're implying with that, but what I will tell you is saying that I had black friends is a source of pride. Saying that I had white friends is a source of pride. If you want to know what it was like growing up, I was disqualified from a beauty pageant because I wasn't white or black, because they didn't know where to put me. So look, I know the hardships, the pain that come with racism. It's the reason that I fight bullies every day when it comes to racism, anti-Semitism, or hate, and I always will. If I didn't mention slavery on that day, it's because that's an automatic. There's always been, the Civil War's always been known about slavery.
So yeah, you seen that, heard that, and towards the end, she cleaned it up. But I was teased every day for being brown is, I think, what many people were focused on when, obviously she's very white passing. Sorry. Like it's just the truth, right? Like you're like Indian wear, right? And she don't help the fact that she uses her name Nikki Haley when her name's Nimrata. I believe that's how you say her name, right? And this is people reacting to DeSantis dropping out. Matt Walsh, as I noted, a lot of people on the Daily Wire are a big fan of his. DeSantis is the best governor in America and more effective at advancing conservative policies than any Republican official alive today. Greg Abbott kind of, it depends on the issue. If it's wokeness, culture, DeSantis got it. But when it comes to making Democrats understand the problem at the border, Greg Abbott is doing it the best right now. Dropping out now and consolidating behind Trump against Haley and the left, but I repeat myself, is the right move. No, he didn't run a perfect campaign, but there's probably was not a perfect campaign in the situation. No sense harping on that now. Time to move forward. Yes, and I think that's one thing that very derailed DeSantis' campaign. As you know, Asa Hutchinson backs Haley ahead of New Hampshire's primary. And this is the kind of people that's backing Nikki Haley, right? Former Arkansas Republican Governor Asa Hutchinson, who dropped out of the 2024 White House race last week, endorsed Nikki Haley for president. His 1%, I don't know. A post from Hutchinson, a former congressman who served in roles in George W. Bush. Many of us don't like what George W. Bush did. And these are the kind of people that is backing Nikki Haley. Prior to becoming governor, argued that the frontrunner President Donald Trump would not bring the country together in a politically charged environment. And I think I always like to ask the question: who's responsible for the politically charged environment? Is it necessarily Donald Trump or the reaction to Donald Trump that's causing the political division? And I don't understand why we prescribe blame on Trump for a lot of things. I think it's a cop out, because it seems like, when you're the most reasonable person in the room and someone's not willing to be reasonable, third parties, observers will be like, hey, yo, just get away from the situation. But I'm like, yo, why do I have to leave the situation? Because this person can't control themselves. And that's how it kind of seems like politically. Like the conservatives seem like the more reasonable people in the party, in the culture, and people are acting, conservatives, just compromise here. These liberals, they're just gonna keep complaining. You might as well appease them. And the left does this all the time. And this is a part of me where I starting to feel, yeah, maybe we should be just as unreasonable as them. And I think that's the draw with Donald Trump, is that for too long, I think, and maybe just me, I'm only 27 years old, I'm really young. But I think there's a sentiment with older conservatives, maybe you guys can chime in the comment section, that they always felt like, yo, we always compromise. Always. No, we are done compromising now. It's time for the left to start compromising. The left gets to push all their little things. They always making progress, but at our expense. And they never give us that same courtesy. Now we're done with that. And I think that's what Trump represents in our party. We're done compromising now. We want someone to fight for our policies, fight for our initiatives, fight for what we want in society. Instead of kowtowing, try to play, bipartisanship. Because with bipartisanship, if the Democrats are never reasonable, it's up to the conservatives to either make or break the partisanship. And partisanship always seems like conservatives have to concede what they want to get like something of less importance to go through. And the Democrats get something moderately important to them passed through because they weren't willing to compromise. And I think this is the problem with the Republican Party today, is that maybe we've just been too compromising. We've been trying to appease the middle too much. Maybe we should be like the Democrats and be like, nah, look, I'm a conservative, unapologetically. Hey, look, this is what I want. Ain't going for it. I guess we ain't doing nothing here. And the country will be behind the Republicans, because right now the Republican solution is the best solution right now with what's going on in the border, what's going on in our economy, and in my view, what's going on in our culture. But, I digress. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think the Never Nikki campaign is growing? What do you think about Ron DeSantis dropping out and also endorsing Donald Trump? I would like to hear some of you guys' thoughts on the matter. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'd like to see you guys on the next one. Peace.